Karl Schleicher, Senior Research Fellow with the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas, Austin, is with me today to talk about open data in the Wiki. Thanks for joining me today, Karl. You've been curating open geophysical data in the Wiki since 2012. What type of open data sets are currently cataloged in the Wiki, and how would you like to see this open data repository grow in the coming years?
Thank you, Isaac. Geophysical data is expensive to collect, and it's often tightly held because of its value. But there is open data available, and I started looking for that about 4 years ago because I thought that it would be useful for academic and small companies to have access to this data. There is data available, and it's usually not well indexed in the web, and you find a lot of links that no longer exist. And as I found it, I started to use the SCG Wiki as a place to make notes about where it existed. And there are pointers that take you to the sites that exist to download the data. And sometimes there weren't any sites available to actually download the data because the data would be passed from one researcher to the next in a thumb drive or on an old disk. So when I found those, I put that on an Amazon server to put it in the cloud. So I found marine data and land data, 2D, 3D data, synthetic data, and field data. And as I collected these, other people added to the Wiki site. Notably, the Open Detect people had a data set for interpretation, or had a library of data for interpretation. I'm especially interested in pre-stack seismic data because I have interest in velocity analysis, migration, signal processing, multiple suppression. And so that was the first thing that I found and tried to archive. I mostly was interested in field data, but I found that the synthetics are also very important. So those synthetics that I found, I archived. Probably the most popular data set has been one that was created for an SCG workshop on full waveform inversion.
Karl, thanks for cataloging these data for us. What is the relationship between this data and innovation within the geosciences?
Well, there's a movement that actually started largely in the geophysical industry for reproducible research, which says that researchers should provide the source code for the algorithms that they develop so other researchers can recreate it. But that's not enough. You also need to have the data that goes along with the algorithms. So the two aspects of open source code and open data go together.
And can you talk a bit about open data, big data, and open government data? What is the Wiki catalog? All three types of these data?
Well, governments are an important source of open data, and we have data from the U.S. government, in particular the Alaska land data, the East Coast marine data, and the Teapot Dome are all from the U.S. government. I'm currently working on some data from the New Zealand government. Some of the other data came from proprietary sources like the Viking Graben data set. I have both of those types. I think that when people talk about big data, that's a movement from other areas where government entities are releasing large amounts of data and making it available. Information like collected by municipalities on license plate numbers or addresses or populations, demographics. One of the complexities with this data is that it's very heterogeneous. There are lots of different types of data, and people want to cross-index it. That's one of the big challenges with big data. But big data has also made it much more popular to move large data sets around, and the cloud, which came from these commercial applications, are an important movement that came out of big data that enables us to distribute the data from the SCG Wiki.
Thank you, Karl. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thanks for this opportunity, Isaac.